I'm here today with a man that needs no introduction. He's the MACK Chief Instructor, he's my instructor, and he's the ICO World President, Mr. Andrew Hennessy. Andrew, welcome to Kickboxing Life Stories.
Thanks, Neil.
Brilliant to have you. So Andrew, going back to the start, childhood, growing up, family life, school life. Tell us a little bit about where it all began.
Yeah, family life, well, originally I'm a Handsworth boy, so like Howard, Cash and people in our system that we know from back in the day. So obviously there's a lot of immigrants settled in that part of Birmingham. So I'm from a big Irish family. Mum and Dad come over in 1948.
Were all your siblings born over here?
They were, yeah, we were all born here. But we spent a lot of time going backwards and forwards. But like we sort of settled in the Handsworth area, so we lived in sort of, before I was born, sort of Lodge Road, Queen's Head Road, and like moved around as the family got bigger, because we were a big family. There was 9 of us, so there was 7 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
So and I think Mum lost a couple early. So.
And where are you in terms of the eldest?
I'm the baby. So
you're the baby of the family.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm the youngest. So as the family got bigger, obviously they had to move around and obviously get bigger premises. And we ended up on St Michael's Hill, which is as you come up off the main drag Constitution Hill into Handsworth, there's a set of lights, and you've got Lozell's Road on the right and St Michael's Church is on the left there. There's like a hill that goes down, and the school's on the right. And we had a fantastic house there. It was massive. We had something like 5 or 6 bedrooms, big old house with loads of character. We all loved it there, like, you know.
Wow.
And yeah, that's where I spent like my early years.
School in Handsworth?
School in Handsworth, St Francis School. So like Mum and Dad were like hard workers. So like we used to, you know, early, first thing like Mum brought us down, you know, for the first few days. But then like, because Sue and Paul were there as well, after a bit you'd all just trudge home together. It's like follow the leader, we'd all come back. And because Mum worked really hard, she had 3 jobs, so she'd be working in laundrette in the daytime, then she'd clean the social security offices, and then she'd go and clean like restaurants and that.
Big family to
support, yeah. Dad was out doing shift work, anodising and casting in foundry, so real hard, gritty work. He became a foreman there and actually run, you know, a lot of the areas in the foundry. But I used to come home like black, like, you know what I mean, and from work
proper
and stuff, like, yeah, shift patterns, proper graft. And they were all immigrants in there as well, Afro-Caribbean, Asian, Irish, you know, so it was all the low.
Did you see a lot of your mum and dad back in the day? Because obviously with them working all the time, or was there
that was the thing, like, you know, we'd come home to like plates left of like sandwiches wrapped up and stuff, and they'd have our names on. So obviously the older ones are off all doing stuff, but the younger ones, we all had like a snack to get like when we got home, because obviously youngest half of mine would go missing straight away.
Last
you know, they all grabbed off the plate. You know, people always said, "You eat fast," and I said, "Well, when you had 7 brothers, if you didn't eat quick, they had it."
That's why you were a welterweight when you were young.
Yeah.
You would have been a heavyweight if you would have done.
So it was like we'd eat our tea and all that, and then we'd trudge on up to meet Mum at the social security. And when she was cleaning there, and we'd go off and help her clean the restaurants and stuff at night, like the little ones, like, and then we'd come back and she'd get her tea on and all that, like, you know. But there were good times, you know, in Handsworth, good times. We had a great place there, very happy, big family. All the older brothers and that were there. Some were off working, some were still at school and stuff, like, you know. But yeah, there were good times.
And what do you remember about your school life?
School life, the early days was fine in Handsworth. You started to see like the groups form as well, like, you know what I mean, and you started getting into, because we as kids, we were never in the house, you'd all off tracking, miles off over, and you just always you'd start to get confrontation the more you were out. It seemed to grow and grow and grow, and we were getting into confrontation. Even at young Paul started getting into a lot of fights and stuff. We'd be fighting together, you know, just to get home safe, like, you know what I mean. And then there was a guy murdered on the corner. As you come down St Michael's Hill, the first left there, I can't remember the name of that road, but our house like, went around the corner and carried on down the hill, and like he killed the guy outside, you know. My dad was involved, he had to go because he heard a commotion.
No way.
And he had to go to court and that and all about it. And I think all these things happen, Dad kind of says, look, you know, we're bringing him back home, you know, as home they would call Ireland.
And this is in the 70s, late 70s?
This in the sort of like early to mid 70s, I would say 73, 74. But what Dad didn't think about at the time was he was bringing us back as English kids in the height of the troubles in Ireland.
What part of Ireland was that?
Well, Mum and Dad from a place called Enniscorthy in County Wexford, which is south east. But what people don't realise is that most of the rebels in Ireland were from the south.
Right.
You know, they shot Michael Collins in Cork.
Yeah,
that was his own county, you know what I mean? And
so what age were you when they brought you back?
I was young, man. I was like 7.
Wow.
8. So
straight into school in Ireland?
Yeah, so anyway, we up sticks, like, you know, sold the house, you know, that lovely house, and it was hard for us to leave there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we went to Ireland, you know, and Mum and Dad were like kind of following their dreams in a way. Like, we built like a beautiful bungalow, you know, with a big veranda on it with cartwheels in it, and like, built it, like, done the plans, got it all drawn up the way they wanted it, got it built, and we went over and lived there, like, you know. But the problem was, like, we were English.
The Handsworth accent didn't fit in?
Didn't get down well, like, you know. And sort of as soon as I got sent to this called the Christian Brothers. Right. It's like, because my mum and dad's like Irish Catholic, like we had to get to the Catholic school, you know. And this, I always remember the building. It was like, you know, a lot of the buildings all like that old grey Gothic look to them. When you look and you think, God, there's
monastery
there's like Dracula there. Like,
yeah.
You know, and as a young kid my age, going into that, you know, going into a strange place, and like, you know, I was walking to school on my own at that age as well after the first couple of days. But like, this Christian brother, I'll never forget him. I'll never forget him as long as I live. I hated him, you know, as a young kid at that age, like.
Already stressed from a big move and no consideration.
No consideration at all. He hated me. You know, he used to, you know, the old Blackboard rubbers, the big wooden ones, used to wipe the chalk off. He used to bounce them off my head.
No way.
Yeah, in front of like a class of like 30 kids in there, which they all hated me as well. Like, I mean, you got to imagine, like, they're covering a curriculum that actually teaches them to kind of dislike this, because the oppression of the Irish goes back like 800 years. You know, a lot of people don't realise that, you know what I mean? And I don't blame them, you know, I don't blame them. It was just unfortunate, it was bad timing for me. Do you know what I mean? I don't blame them. I love my Irish heritage. You know, I've got a place there, you know, that you've been there. And, you know, we go back every year. My kids have been going back, Brad's been going back since he was 3 months old. And
it was just a time, though,
wasn't it? It was just
a
bad time, you know, that where Dad was trying to protect us. And he admitted it later on, like, you know, where he was trying to protect us, it actually brought us into a worse situation.
I suppose when Dad was bringing you back, he was remembering like how it was for him.
Yeah. He didn't realise the depth of hatred's a hard word, but there was some of that hatred there. I was hated by some of them. I had some real bad.
They're probably hearing it every single day. The English this, the English that.
There was that, like, you know, not everybody, but like, you know, I'd get it in the classroom and the teacher hated me, and then you go out in the playground and it was like, you know what I mean? And like, I had cousins there that they didn't really want to know because they would have probably got, you know what I mean? So they didn't get any help off then. Yeah, so then it was like a everyday running the gauntlet home, the gauntlet to school, trying to evade the bad ones, like, you know what I mean? It was a rough time, and so the old man said, like, you know, right, you go into boxing now. So like, there was a boxing club in the sports ground called Belfield over there. And he took me down there and went in, and we was chatting to the coach and all that, and like in the boxing, he was like one of the worst guys I had trouble with, you know, in school.
And he was at the boxing gym as well?
Yeah. So like, the coach kind of seen I was a bit standoffish, like a bit wary. He said, "What's wrong?" Like, and I, you know, the owner said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Well, that's one of the main ones here, like, I'm going to get on here, like, when there's some of them here with us." And he said, "I'll sort that out, like," and he just put us in the ring with gloves on, and we just knocked 7 bells out of each other, there's blood everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, and he says, you know, and yeah, it's mad. And I always remember the canvas because it was kind of loose and I kept tripping over. And the one I've actually fell on the kid's leg, like smashed all my nose up even more because I was just so, you know, mad trying to get forward to hit him, like. And I fell over and smashed my nose off his leg. Yeah, but like it worked because that kid never bothered me anymore.
Right, probably earned his respect.
Yeah, because I did have a go with him, like, you know what I mean. And he was bleeding as well as I was bleeding, like, so.
Just left you be there.
Yeah, he was just the other 50 you had to worry about.
Yeah.
So I carried on with that for a little bit and done a couple of interclubs with them. Right. Over there as well. And then...
was it just you that was doing the boxing?
Yeah, just me, yeah. It wasn't for very long, I think it was about probably 6 months, something like that, 12 months. Then it was like, in the end, it was this other real bad one. I got into a bad situation with him where I was, you know, when somebody pushes you enough, like, you turn, you know what I mean? And I was only a young kid at the time, and I was having a tear up with him.
Felt like you were being pushed to your limits?
Yeah, somebody stopped me. You got to remember now, I was about 8. You know, I've looked back like when my kids were that age, and I kind of thought,
you had all that to deal with.
You wouldn't have coped.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that they coped because they didn't have we were already rough and ready from Handsworth, like, do you know what I mean? We were out all the time, we were getting into scrapes, and I didn't want trouble in Ireland, like, you know what I mean? But there was a pack mentality over there as well.
Probably like all those early experiences probably moulded you to, you know, give you the resilience that you needed later on.
Yeah. It was tough times. Like, in the end, I wouldn't go to school. I'd go off for and I'd double round the back, and we had a big garage. I'd go in there, get my air rifle, and I'd go and shoot everything that moved. Just like over, like, I did love that side of Ireland, you know, the freeness, the countryside, you know. I used to love fishing for trout and shooting and stuff, and that we used to sell furs we had a big famous greyhound track there. Yeah. And we used to sell the furs to the greyhound track for the rabbit for the greyhounds to get some pocket money that way. When the strawberry season was on, there was a bounty on grey crows, so we'd kill them, bring them to the farmers, and he'd give us some pocket money. When the white trout were coming up, we'd catch the white trout, bring them to the butchers, and they'd buy us.
So you're a bit resourceful back in the day.
That way, like, you know, we used to make some money for ourselves that way, like, you know. We used to love going off fishing with my dad, and now we used to love that, you know, when he'd come in, finish work late at night, we'd just go down. Fishing and stuff, and going off just not hunting and that. We had dogs, hunting dogs, proper Jack Russells and proper hunting dogs. We'd go off hunting.
So I suppose it was a bit of a sweet experience.
Yeah, I liked that side of it, do you know what I mean? So, but like, I just couldn't cope with the, even my mum got into trouble with that particular Christian brother because she come down, she knew he was like, constantly like battering me basically. Because he had a leather, they got leathers, these Christian brothers, men of the cloth. Yeah, they got this leather. And it was weird actually, because I used to tell my kids about it, like, and they'd kind of like think, it's a bit like draconic. And we was watching a film called A Prayer for the Raggy Boy, I don't know if you've ever seen it. And it's about the Christian brothers and how they treated young kids back in the day. And they were hitting them with these levers. And I said, there's the lever. And he used to open the stitching on the side and shove the old big pennies in there. And he prided himself on making the circle in your hand when he like belted you with this
unbelievable
lever. Yeah, and I got that like regular. Yeah, and the blackboard rubbers. You know what I mean? And he just didn't like me, man. proper.
Jeez.
So like, as a young kid, you know, it's wrong, like, but I had thoughts of like wanting to kill that guy, man.
No way.
Yeah, and he's like, just like bad memories. So it was a real dark time for me. That was dark period in my life.
And was mum and dad aware of how bad it was for you?
I don't think originally. I mean, I started wetting the bed.
Right.
And I didn't find out till later on, but that's through trauma.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, then that affected the rest of my life till about 14.
Right.
You know, so it was like that trauma stayed there. It affected me, like, you know, and that was from that big move from Birmingham to Ireland, having to deal with stuff going on then at school, being in a real strange place, and problems I was dealing with. And then, yeah, now we were all, in the end, mum and dad had to sell up, come back to Birmingham, because Paul was getting into trouble over there. I was getting into trouble, Sue was already gone back. And it was a real shame, you know.
What age was that when you made the move back?
I was there for about 3 years.
Right.
So it was like just, the problem I had then when I come back.
Now you're the paddy.
I'm the paddy, so I'm the paddy. And then the other thing was, I had like a couple of months in like your junior school, but they all knew each other, like,
yeah,
so it was like the last year when you've had that, they've had that like
course,
year,
of course,
from 5 to like 11, right?
And was this back in Handsworth?
It was back now. Because my oldest brother Jimmy, bless him, he's dead now, but like you know, Sean is he was in borders of Sparkhill. Spark was a massive Irish community, you know, Sparkbrook, Sparkhill, huge Irish community, and Hall Green as well. So we moved back into Hall Green, and Jim, and you know, Jim and that were on Solihull Road.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Not far from your mum and dad's at the time, and so we moved. I think they moved because they're familiar because Jimmy was there, like, right. You know. So we moved back to Hall Green, and I went to then the English Martyrs. You know, I was just chucked in there for a couple of months. But what my mum and dad didn't realise, and I don't know how it happened, but I never ended up with my secondary school.
Right.
So like, it was weird, so I had to like end up going to the education department of town, sitting in this weird building, all these strange people, and like, mum and dad were trying to, well, it was my mum at the time, and she had to try and get me a school. Right. Because I didn't have a school to get to, like, you know. So then I just ended up being chucked in any old school that had a place for me, and that was down Smallleaf.
Wow.
Place called Holy Trinity. So again, went there, didn't know nobody. Slight Irish accent. You know what I mean? Billy now. And what happened was I went into myself like very reserved, very like. You know, if people would say something to someone, I'd just let it go. You know what I mean? Let it go over my head, like, kind of thing. Because
I suppose I'd had a lot of trouble. Was low from
I'd had a lot of trouble, you know, and then I was moved again. And what was happening is my education was affected as well. Yeah. You've got to remember now, in them periods, I was learning like nothing. Yeah. I was learning nothing in Ireland. Only just, you know, trouble, really. And then, like, come back here now, you don't know anybody, then you're only there for a couple of months in that junior school, and then you like got to get to this senior school, you know. It's just, you know, it was just like, and I was kind of like, you know, it was hard. And yeah, and started to make some friends there, but then the one day, like, this one kid kept, you know, when they keep kicking the back of your chair saying something when you get in every day. So the one day I got up and I just give him 3 digs, right hands, real hard right hands, and just smashed him. And I remember the teacher at the time who was doing the form in the morning was Mr. Winston.
Right.
Yeah, great teacher, man. I'll never forget him. Like, he's probably the only teacher I kind of respected all the way through. Anyway, I was off, got the cane. Them canes used to hurt, man, I tell you. So, like, and like,
you've had it all, haven't you?
Yeah, man. They gave me the cane for like beating this kid. Naturally enough, like, I shouldn't have done it, like, but like, you got to remember now, I've been there a while, and it's just pent up aggression, like, and it just went like, you know. And it's not me really. I'm not really that kind of person, you know that. So I got a cane and like, you know, and they give you this cane like, and then they expect you to work. Right, I couldn't even hold the pencil because the mark's in your hand for the next day, and the next day it's still there. Yeah. You know, and Mr. Winston kind of said like, because he knew I was alright, I weren't like a troublemaker. And he says, look, I'm starting up a boxing club. Andrew, do you want to get in? I think he knew I was kind of a loner as well. Right. I didn't really have, in the early stages of secondary school, I didn't really have a lot of friends there, obviously, because I'd gone in where, you know, it's like where most people who go, they've gone in little packs from their junior schools. Well, I weren't in any of them packs, like I was like Billy No mates. Yeah. So he said, we're starting it, like I says, yeah, alright, I've done a bit of that, like. So we started, like, and I mean, he didn't know a lot himself, like, you know what I mean, but he had the basics, you know what I mean, and it wasn't like we were doing like AVA boxing level, but like he knew enough to, like, you know, get your jab and your right hands and your footwork and your guard and stuff like that, and working on the focus mitts and stuff, and just a lot of sparring, really, just getting these big pillows on and sparring and that. So then it was really funny, like we was training there, and there's another lad, great lad from Irish descent as well, John McCarthy his name was, and he comes up to me one day, he goes, Andrew, I could hear him calling me down the corridor, like, what's the matter with you? And he's like, all like excited. He says, we're fighting tomorrow night. So what are you on about? Fighting? Because we didn't know we were going to fight, like. And he said, Mr. Winston's just told me, he saes, it's me, you. It weren't all of us, I think there was 4 or 5 of us got matched, obviously. So I said, oh God, you know. So anyway, we went off, we got the day off, which we thought was brilliant. We come in our sports gear. I think I don't know what it's, an old trainers, some Villa shorts I think I had at the time that I got a kit for Christmas or something. And they were putting like a bib on us, like, you know. And we went off in the school van. And it's really weird. I didn't really know where this school was that we went to until Brad was starting senior school. Right. This is a true story, this is. And I went up to look, you know, when you go and look around the schools and before you pick and all that. So we went up to Bishop Challoner in King's Heath. And went in there now. And even at first I didn't recognise, but it weren't until I went into the hall and sat down in the stage. You had a flashback? I said to Fee, this is where I boxing as a kid. No way. Yeah. It's really weird, surreal, because we just, I think we was that scared going off the fight. We didn't even look where he was. You know what I mean? None of that come into it, like, but it was really weird that I was on that stage and had the boxing ring on the stage, and I boxed in there, like, and what it was like a Catholic schoolboy thing where the schools would connect with each other and you'd box each other at the schools, and Challoner's, as I realised when Brad started there, was a big sporting school. It was heavy, so if you could go up to Challoner's, they've got all the posters of the kids that have done well from their school in boxing and judo and athletics and stuff like that. So it figured that back in the day they were holding the like eliminations of the bouts, like. And then if you won, you went on to fight at the police training ground at the Talio, down in Persia Road. Wow. And they got a club there, and like a social club there, and you went on to fight there. But so I went there and got in the ring, and I went to ring and they were putting a sash on you, so you had like a blue and red sash. And I went to get in. She said, "Yeah, I ain't got your sash on yet," like, you know, tied my sash on. I didn't know what I was getting. And got in there, and this kid across the way, I thought, he's massive. It's like this big blonde-haired kid, and I always remember him. And Mr. Winch said, just keep your chin down, your guard up, like, he says, and just, you know, hit him with flurries and stuff, like, but I didn't really open up on the go. I remember I kept my head down, and maybe he was hitting me with big pounding jabs. Right. And I had a headache, like, all night after it, like. But I lost on points, to there, like, you know, but it was like good. How did you feel getting out of that? Did you enjoy the experience? Yeah, I enjoyed it, you know, it's like everything. It was like, I think at that age, you're kind of scared. You're not as nervous as when you're an adult. It's weird. It's kind of like, you know, you're going into a fight kind of thing, but I think I froze a little bit. I didn't open up enough.
Right.
I think if I'd opened up on him and probably got aggressive, I probably would have won more. Because I could see the fear in this kid's face as well.
Yeah,
he was just as scared as I was. Do you know what I mean? It's the one thing I did notice. And Mr. Wynn said, you just didn't open up on him. Like,
Right.
you just, like, you didn't do enough. You know what I mean? And he wasn't throwing a lot either, like, you know, but it was a good experience. So that was good. And we went to had the assembly like a few days later at school, and we got our medals and stuff like that. And you get the usual ones. Like the lads were going, "Oh, show us your medal," and it was like in two pieces, and like the one of them dropped it like deliberately, and it split like to the front of the medal with the boxes like stuck onto a plate. Like, that come off. Like, and you just the usual stuff, like, you know what I mean. But I loved that medal, like the first medal, and then we done that again. Probably, I think it was about 6 months later, and I got through to the Talio, and then I lost there on points to a kid who was a good boxer, like from a proper boxing gym, proper ABA boxing background. His just skill level was just better. Do you know what I mean? So, but so that was that, and then there was I can't remember this. It was in a higher year than us. And John McCarthy knew him. I can't remember the name of the lad, but he boxed at Holy Family,
Right.
down boys as the Small Leaf. And there was an old Paddy there, and he started coming down and doing boxing training on other nights at our school, because he knew we had that little boxing club going, he thought. And I think that was the origination of the original like Small Leaf Boxing Club originally.
Right.
I think I was pretty sure that's where it originated from. I never fought for them, but I trained with them because he had a lot more skill level, obviously as a coach. So I trained with him as well and done some training with them.
And again, at this point, it's just you boxing from the family.
Yeah, only me. Yeah, only me, like, you know. So and then kind of like me and John and a few of the lads, it got that stage at school where everybody back then, it was the era of mods, rockers, skinheads.
You had to pin your colours to a mast.
Punk.
Yeah.
And like we were off then, like partying and like, because I had that tash growing there.
Yeah.
John was dark. There's another John McGinley. He can handle himself, so he's a good kid. He weren't a boxer, but he could fight. And
so which were you? Were you the mod or the rocker?
Oh, we were all mods.
Mods.
Yeah,
right.
So we were the clean ones with the Parkers and all that, like, and and then me and John McCarthy got arrested a couple of times for like riding scooters underage, no tax insurance, no helmets. And then we got arrested for like fighting skinheads. Come out from a jam concert at once, and there was a massive fight. I think they'd come up from the blues ground. I think a load of them. There was hundreds of them, and like thousands of us coming out of the jam concert. Just finished, like, and it was just like it was the old Bingley Hall, which is now the ICC, International Convention Centre, and the rep was there, but the rep at the front was different before. There'd be like a big grass area in front, like a little wall around it. And they were the other side of the wall, so we come out now and we was all going to jump on scooters and stuff like, or make our way home on the buses and stuff like that. And like this stuff, it was like a scene from a Robin Hood movie. Like you looked up and there was just bricks, bottles, God no, just flying through the air, man. And then it just went ballistic.
Like quadrophenia.
Yeah, it was like ballistic, and we was like running down subways and police on bikes chasing and all sorts of just madness. And like it was that era then, so the boxing went out the window, because we were
you're
going
partying.
to house parties, getting, going round with mod parties and stuff, and going up the barrel organ up Big Buff, which was the mod, that's where the face used to be, the head mod, and all the scooter boys would be out there, going up there and to the parties, and it was just and like everybody had an identity then, so like you was fractions with skins, punk. Not so much punks weren't really getting involved in the violence. It was mainly like skinheads, rockers were very nuts, and skinheads were the bad ones, because they do if they caught you, like a group of them, they'd put out like cigarettes on your face and
No
arms,
way.
or like slit you with razor blades and stuff like that. Luckily we never
Mad
but
times.
we know, yeah, it was. But like good times too, though. You know what I mean? It was although like you used to get into scrapes, there was still a lot of good times as well.
Yeah. Read about these kind of times.
Yeah, it was wild. It was good. But that was just that era. It's like everybody had an identity. Like, it was a new wave of mods.
And what age were you around this time?
We was coming towards it like 14, 15.
Right.
We was in town and drinking it because, like I said, I was dark skinned, hair, dark. So I had a tash and so we could get in and get drinks, and that was getting into nightclubs at that age and stuff. That was mad, and getting served and stuff. Me and John and the other John could definitely get served because we were dark and we had tashes and stuff like, and looked, and mostly used to turn a blind eye.
Yeah, different world.
Different world.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, give me your money kind of thing. So so went through that era, and good times with the lads and that, and I had that group of friends there, like, and we kind of had an identity and a friendship and as a bond, and I think I needed that because of the past.
Being part of something.
Being part of something was good, and having people around me who were like, if you did get into trouble, they'd be there as well, like, they were good lads.
So this was leading up to leaving school?
Leaving school, yeah.
What did you do after you left school?
Because we were working class, though, there was never college and universities never mentioned to us. It was just like get out, work, graft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I left it because I was one of the older, because my birthday was like in late August. Back then you could leave at Easter.
Right.
So
I remember that.
You could leave at Easter. So I said, I'm getting out of there. I was an academic, you know what I mean? My academic days are gone because of the movie. I wasn't going to catch up. You know what I mean? I just wasn't, because it was fractured. My sort of schooling was from moving backwards and forwards, and I had other worries, never mind writing. You know what I mean? I was just trying to survive at times, protect myself. So I was never going to be academic, although I studied a lot. Probably go into it later, but I studied a lot later in life, in academia, to better myself. So I went out, and back then it was like the YTS, weren't they? And it was like 25 quid a week, you know what I mean? And I'd have to give my mum 15 of that. Because you did big house, so we all had to muck in. There was no you've got to pay towards the house. That's it, your food, keep, electric, and that. It was just seen, sound. So I had like a tenner, to live on for a week, and I was like.
And what was that doing?
I was like polishing rings and setting rings in the jewellery quarter.
Right.
Yeah, for a while. But I had a big run-in with the gaffer there, and we actually had a proper couple of, bit of a row like me and him did. So that didn't go down well. I got sacked there, and that didn't go down well. That didn't end well. So I left there, and started an apprenticeship then in insulation, so it was like lagging, and I was travelling around the country and working in hospitals and stuff all over the country and stuff, doing apprenticeship in that.
Was there anything that grabbed your passion then, or was it just like a means to get by?
I was believing I was horse riding.
Right.
Yeah, because Dad was a mad horse. Because Dad grew up with, and before he come back to England to work and live, he was working on the farm, with animals and that, and he was always mad horse, and so there was an advertisement for some Connemara ponies, and they're like Irish breed from the west of Ireland. They're actually from Galway,
right,
on the west coast of Ireland, on the Atlantic coast, and Dad just says, we're going to have a look, and it was actually Mum who bought them. She was against it at first, but when she actually seen it, she loved them, and there was two ponies. There was a filly, which is a female, and a little gelding, which is a young male, before they grow to a stallion, and we bought both of them. But the beauty of it was, we broke them from nothing, from wild, so they'd never been ridden nothing. But my dad knew how to train them through lunging and stages of me getting on their back, you know, putting things on their back gradually, you know, and eventually we broke them into being like great horses, and I used to enter competitions across country and that, you know, jumping and racing and skills on the horse and stuff like that. I'd done competitions in that, and I was good horseman in the end, and loved them. My dad loved them as well. We had used to keep them up at a place called Trumansea Farm, which is up towards Whittle, Hollywood area, up there, and we kept them there. And obviously we had to look after them. But then, like, you know, again, I grew out of that because going out with girls and partying and stuff, and then like, eventually we sold them on like to a school, but
you're passionate about that?
Yeah, I liked that. It was good, and what it done gave me strength in my legs, real good strength in my legs, because you had to grip a lot, you know, and the way you had to move in the stirrups for certain cantering and trotting and stuff. It gave me good strength in my legs as well, which helped me when I moved into the martial arts, obviously.
Some martial arts?
Yeah.
What age did that come about? How did you discover martial arts?
Well, it was early actually, probably before we went to Ireland, because like Bruce was coming out then.
Right.
Obviously Bruce was a big thing. It gave us all that sort of inspiration. When you seen that guy, it was like, man, wow, this guy was just like something different. You've never seen him before. Like, so like in St Michael's, like Steve would come in, be me and Paul, we'd be, you know, fighting us and throwing us all over the place. We'd be trying to kick and punch him. And Dennis, I remember Dennis coming once, and Dad had James, because he was a carpenter, like he'd built that in a lovely bar, and he come in, done a big drop kick, kicked the bar, broke his foot. Like Dad come in crazy, trying to give us all a dig, because like his bar had just got hit or something.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, and then some of the pillar fights and that we used to have, like, because them old pillars, we used to have like, you know, the proper feather pillars back in the day. The old man would come in, there'd be 6 of us killing each other with pillars, like the whole room be covered in feathers, and he'd be trying to kill you with his belt, like, because he thought we were playing up, and the whole place is a mess.
All inspired by Bruce Lee.
Yeah, but Bruce like used the air back then, and then obviously when I went to Ireland, like my mum used to like sneak, go down, she'd like sweet talk the bouncers like to let us in, to watch the movie, like, because I was underage, but they just said, go on. She'd be with me, like, we watched a few of the Bruce Lee movies back then, and then people would come out and there'd be people kicking and arms and legs flying up the street after it. It was brilliant, you know, with people just copying Bruce. So yeah, Bruce was a big inspiration early, before I even thought about doing martial arts. And then like, I've always been interested in the martial arts, and I was reading the Evening Mail, and there was a little advert, and it said learn karate. So I thought, well, I'd seen the karate guys on with Bruce, like, but it was always the Chinese versus the Japanese, like, but I was still intrigued by that Eastern sort of stuff. So I got the courage up and I thought, I'm going to go to this. So I don't know if I rang up or just turned up. I might have rang up, but
what age?
I don't know, it was about 82.
Right.
I don't know, I was young, 16, 17, something like that. Yeah. So I said, I went up anyway, and it was the Temple Hotel on Temple Street.
The infamous Temple Hotel.
Yeah, so that's where it was. And I went in there, you know, and it was packed. Right, I went into the foyer of the hotel, and there was like people everywhere. And it was like, there was a little conference room on the side. And what they were doing was taking in about 20 people at a time into the conference room. So I just signed in, so the mate said, yeah, just hang around here and we'll call you in like in a minute, there's people in there. So anyhow, that crowd of people come out, and I went in and sat down, like, and there's this white bloke there, and there's a little black guy, small but strong, you know, stocker, you know, and that was obviously Howard, yeah.
Howard the Hawk?
Howard the Hawk, Brown, yeah. So the first time I seen Howard, like, and they were playing a video of his fight, and he was like in a ring and boxing and kicking, and I thought, man,
this ain't karate.
No, it's not karate. What's this like? But I liked it because obviously I'd done a bit of boxing, you know. So I thought, this is weird, like, you know, there's no white suits here, you know what I mean, going on. And I'd seen something like it before, because me and Apple, when the VHS video shops were around, we got a video out, and it's called The Super Weapon. I thought, what's this like, you know? And actually, Leonard Nimoy was narrating on it, Spock.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
and I've never seen it again since, like, and we thought, oh, we'll get that and have a look at it, what? And it showed you all different styles of martial arts. It was really good. There's some really good stuff on there, you know, like opened your eyes to lots of different martial arts. Some Japanese jiu-jitsu guys who used to train the guys for the Vietnam War and stuff like that. Real good guys, like guys using chi, where they'd get 4 or 5 of the hardest punches in the world, like, and they'd punch him in the throat.
Because I think
just stand there.
like late 70s and early 80s, it was mainly traditional based martial arts.
Yeah, traditional based martial arts.
Didn't see a lot of sport martial arts.
No, not a lot. Like, you know, it was very well. Howard was Shotokan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Most of the early guys with kung fu, karate, or taekwondo background. There wasn't anything as like now where you just unique kickboxing right from the off all the way through. You got to remember what I started in was full contact karate.
Yeah,
that's what it was. We never, when you sparred, it was full contact. On your grade, it was full contact. We didn't do anything else. That's what we were.
So did it have you like there and then? Did it have you?
Yeah, it did actually. Because I listened to Howard speak, and you know, he speaks really well. They really are
so charismatic,
and like he was clean, whereas there was no damage on him. And I looked at him and thought, this guy must be good, man. You know what I mean? Because like he's professional world champion.
And crazy articulate.
Yeah, really good spoke well. And I just thought, yeah man, I'm in for this. Like. So I signed up straight away. And what we was, and probably only the old school would know, is we were the original Wacko back then. I actually joined Wacko back then. You know, I had a white suit with the stars around the cuffs of you. We had a full contact short jacket, the old full contact. So we didn't have a long, you know, traditional karate had like a skirt part that come down here. We didn't. We had a waist here. Your jacket would stop here. It was a crossover jacket, velcro there, short arms just down past your elbow. So it was a white with blue band with white stars, blue band down your trousers, white stars. And it was the old Wacko when it was Wacko with a C. Combat, World All Stars Combat Organisation. So we were the original Wacko back then, before Eka actually come about at all. We were Wacko, because Howard was the Wacko world champion at the time. You know what I mean? In 1979, he won in Los Angeles. That's what we were. So that's the suit I had, and that's what we started in. Then I started in Paulson and all this stuff. What are you doing, Andrew? I said, I'm starting this full contact karate. He goes, can I come? I said, yeah, of course you can. No. And he was driving it, so it was better.
Right,
you know what I mean? So I said, yeah, come on, let's do that. And he started, he loved it as well. So we got started in there, like, and I remember like asking Howard, I said, how many started out when we started at that time? And he said, there must have been like 300.
Wow.
Because I said, like, we were queuing up to go into.
Just coming out of Bruce Lee boom.
Yeah, and it was just from a little advert. This advert was like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, they like signed up about 300. We was in one of them classes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going through, and then I always remember seeing like when we'd be going up after finishing that class, like Delroy Edwards and Cash were coming down the stairs, and I used to look up to them and think, oh man, these guys
like intermediate kind of grades.
They were like purples, going for browns and stuff like that. I used to love seeing them coming down and thinking, that's where I want to train with these guys.
So what was your early aspirations when you started martial arts? Was it the art, or was it the competitions? What
You
was it
didn't
that
know
grabbed
about
you?
competition, to be
Right.
honest, Neil. The way I got introduced to competition was you never really talked about competition. It was just like training and like
Grades
and stuff like that. As I said, like we only ever sparred full contact with Howard. You never done anything else. That was it. Your sparring was full. Every time we went for a grading, because with Howard, if you couldn't fight, don't matter how good you were technically, you knew at the end everybody had to sit down. It went deadly quiet, and you were pulled up one at a time, and you had to
fight.
You had to fight. You had to go. It was a tear up. You know
But
what
I
I mean?
suppose the transition enough between traditional martial arts and modern martial arts, like you think there was no competitions or you didn't know about competitions, but that transition was enough at the time.
It was,
so different than what was out there everywhere else.
And it wasn't like I was buying magazines and looking and finding out about. I was intrigued enough. I just was hungry for going to class and learning the martial arts. The competitions didn't come into it. I mean, we had people coming into the gym back then, like challenging our club as well, like from traditional. I think because we were like a new thing, this full contact karate and these different suits and stuff. Like we did have people coming in, like, and they'd have white geese and stuff like, and they'd try and like bring it on, like, you know what I mean. But like most of them got
of course.
Pasting, man, because like if you come into there, like you're gonna get it, like so. And then that happened to Colin and Sticks once. Actually, they come in right, Jack the lads. He probably didn't forgot to tell you that. They were like full of themselves. And I think like when he says, "Oh, we got a good," remember when he said he went down? That was the time he come down and like I sparred Sticks. And he kind of smirked at me a funny way, like, and I thought, you're going to get it. So like, I'll give him a bit of a doing. And I remember Colin saying, "Whoa, man, he's got to go back to his mum tonight," or something like that. And then Colin come up and I think he got a good doing as well. And a couple of weeks later, Colin got his tough knocked out in one of Cash's classes as well. So like, if you
hard times.
if you weren't no messing around. Like if you brought like that kind of, you were gonna get it.
But I suppose everybody believed in their own system, didn't they? It's like Bruce Lee had it back in the day, didn't he? Like
I remember I looked round once and I can't remember Howard's cousin. He had dreadlocks and he was from a traditional base. Lovely kid, man, really nice guy. And like he was having a real tear up with this traditional karate guy. And then I sparred him next lot and we had a right old ding dong, you know what I mean? But like, that did go on, that all the time. It did definitely go on where people were coming in to see what we were about. And like
this new thing
and saying like, "Well, are you better than us?" kind of thing. Let's have a go. Like fair play to them, like they come for a scrap fight, but like it didn't go well for them a lot of the time.
So in the gym, it must have been like a who's who of people that can only be described as legends in terms of martial arts. Who do you remember in the gym around that time? You mentioned Delroy Edwards.
Delroy Edwards was great. I remember Delroy. He kind of like would be standoffish. Delroy. I used to love seeing him, watching. He was technically very good. He could fight as well, but he was technically good as well. And I love technicians. Cash was great, kid. Me and Cash were good. We grew into good friends. We used to train a lot together. We used to teach a lot together. We used to go to, as soon as we finished training, we'd be straight in the chicken shop and having lunch together and stuff like that. So, and then we'd be off teaching together a lot, like for later in the day, like we were covering around the Birmingham club and that night together. We went all over the place, teaching together. So Cash, had a lot of respect for Cash. Loved Ed Brown, Howard's brother. Really good guy, lovely kid, good technician, really good boxer, really good hands. But I remember he covered for Howard once and he'd done a class with us. Like, it was the first time I learned back kick and stuff like that. And I think he covered it and done jump front kick, I think, when we first started that. And it was a great class. And I thought he was a really good instructor as well. So I respected him a lot that way. Liked Edge. Trying to think who was else.
Was Steve McNennis?
No, he was later.
He was later than
Yeah, there was a lot of people who was later.
So you guys were like first generation?
Yeah, we were. Like, I would say Cash was for like, and Dalroy was just before me, and then I kind of like caught up with them like later on, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, so Dalroy, and later on it was we had loads of people coming. Levi was great. Lavelle, he was one of the mainstays. Levi was a great kid, good fighter, good technician. Again, we used to travel around, teach the clubs together as well, learn our trade back in the day together. So Levi was great. Later on, Derek Edwards come into it, Lawrence White, Huey Ford was awesome. You know, Huey Ford was he was European point fighter with Lowguard before he even got involved with us.
And then went on to win a pro British boxing title.
Yeah, he was Lonsdale belt holder. Yeah, he was good full contact fighter, great legs, good boxer, great technician, really good technician. Steve McNennis come into it, love Steve, brilliant, really.
Oh, really technical.
Technical, you know me, I love technique. I love technical fighters. I like, you know, fighting, but like fighting with technique as well is just, for me, is just the ultimate. Like, so he was a great kicker, but good hands as well. Nice kid, Steve. You got to do one of these with him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's
like
great.
He's a bit. Because you don't, a lot of people talk about Steve, do they really? But I think
no, he's a forgotten man, isn't he?
But like,
did the phase and that, but he was always a respected fighter at the time.
100%, man, he's wicked. Yeah, absolutely wicked. I remember I fought in first continuous championships, and me and Dalroy were in the semi-final. We had a real good fight, man. It was really close. I thought I'd done enough, he thought I'd done enough. He got the shout. I tried hitting with a whip kick off my back leg. And I normally follow up with a side kick or a turning side, but I didn't. I come around with to face him 360, and he hit me with a wicked round kick off his left leg, because he was good down. It was a really good fight, that was a technical fight, like in the semi-finals. Hit me with a wicked round kick there, man. And I had like a banana, and he split my eye as well. I had like a hairline cut under my eye with a round kick, and I think that like kind of
damage and
just giving the decision on that. Like, and he went through to fight Steve in the final, and I was looking forward to fighting Steve in the final, because both good technicians, both good legs,
good kickers,
but we had good hands as well. Like, people like always feared us kind of like for kicking, but like we get good hands as well. Like, it would have been a really good fight.
Who won the final?
It's a really good fight, man. They both dropped each other. I think Steve hit Dalroy with a wicked round kick, just like he did with me. Because Dalroy come up after and said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "You just give me." He says, "Well, you dropped a sweet axe kick on my nose earlier." He says, "Like, so hold you one." I said, "Yeah, his nose is all bruised. So I hit him with an axe kick earlier in the fight, but like that round kick hit me, it was wicked." And still, I've seen Steve catch him with the round kick. But as he caught, he went left leg double tap, and he hit him with the second tap, the round kick, and he hit Dalroy, but Dalroy instantly reacted with a jumping back kick. So Steve never expected that. He was on the recoil, wicked jumping back kick, put Steve down, because it hit him just bangs, one of them, drop, bang. You know, so now it's a really good. Steve won. Wow. It was a good fight. Yeah, that was a good fight. So like Steve McNennis came in, and he great guy, Steve, good technician, really good legs.
So at this point, competitions is a thing for you?
First competition, I'll tell you about the first competition. I didn't even know about them. It was like, I think it was Casher out says, "And you're fighting Sunday." Fighting what? Where? What's that? Oh, it's the Nationals. Like, I had got a clue now what this was, right? Because with that, I don't know if it was a purple belt or something like that, because I weren't like senior, but something like that, purple, maybe blue. So anyway, I went to this tournament, and Didn't even know what to do really. I hadn't got a clue. Got up. There was this big, massive giant of a guy. He must have been 6'4".
Is this when the categories are like 20 kilo splits?
It was
or no category?
There was no belt.
Yeah.
It was just belts.
Right. Oh gosh.
And I was in like, this guy had a black belt on anyway. But he was huge, man. So anyway, got up. I didn't really know what to do. Got on the line, put my guard up, full contact guard, obviously. I didn't know nothing about points.
Yeah.
So he comes on, charging across off his line. I was hitting with a snap front kick. And I had a good front kick. It was like a jab, real sharp. Bang, down, went down. So I got the points, like. He got back up, come back over. Hit me with a reverse punch. Went down, right. And now he'd come over and he was kind of like laughing. And he says, Andrew, he says, you can't hit him that hard like that. I said, no, I don't know. I don't know what to do. He said, it's just like, don't hit him so hard. So then he come back over and hit him a reverse punch to the body, and he went down again. And Howard told me off again, kind of thing. So that was like, I won that. And then I thought, there was Owen, I don't know if you remember Owen, he was a bouncer, Shotokan background, light-skinned guy, really well built, like a light heavyweight.
Was it?
No, Owen Comrie come later, he was from
Or
Nottingham.
the Wints?
No, the Wints come, they were Coventry, they were like, I can't remember his last name. I took my brown belt with him.
Right.
With a right tear up on our brown belt. Real good tear up with him. And he could handle himself, like, but he was third dan or something at Shotokan.
Okay.
So I fought him, I lost to him, like, because he was sharp from his Shotokan.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He kicked me in the head a couple of times, lost to him. But then we fought in the teams. And there's me, Cash was fighting points back then.
Yeah.
There's me,
I was
Cash.
surprised to hear that when Colin said that.
And do you know what? He was really good.
Yeah.
You know, Cash was just a good fighter, all right.
Yeah,
Turn his hand to anything like when he was good, man. I just remember, I was watching Cash thinking, how do you know how to do that? Because I'd never.
Tall and rangy,
Really good, like, you know. Yeah, Cash was a good kicker, really. He had long arms as well, like. And I was watching Cash thinking, yeah, man, he looked good. And Dalroy. Who else was in the team? Levi. I think Levi might have been. It was me. I don't think Yui was with us then. This was early days. Can't remember the fifth man, but we fought. Got to the final, and this is my first tournament with them. But like they kind of boosted me because I'm fighting like with Dalroy. And Cash.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like a purple belt.
Pulled into the 80.
Yeah, I've got like Dalroy, Cash. So I kind of stepped up a bit, like, and we fought our way to the final. And it was against the really good Warsaw team.
Right.
I can't remember the coach's fighter from Warsaw. It was a stocky, white, keep it longish hair. I can't remember his name now, man, but he had a good team. And sure, the kid was in it who you fought for the Midland area title when we fought. It was from that camp.
Martin Cope.
Right.
He's been around for
ages, and he was in that team. He was good back then.
Yeah,
And
really
I
good
fought
fighter.
Martin, but I think he was black, but he was high grade then. And I come out, it was between me and him to see who won, like. And it was close. And then we come together and I hit him. And I knew I hit him. Right, because I felt my reverse punch go straight through him to his spine. I hit him really hard to the body. But they gave him the point. And then when he went back to line, he went straight down on his knees because I'd winded him. So I knew like I'd hit him, but obviously he must have been just before me or something. It was almost like we come together. So then, but like, so we lost in the final. Because of me, but like, you know, it was my first tour. You know what I mean? So I didn't have a clue what I was doing, to be honest. You know, I'd only ever sparred full contact. I didn't know what the point thing was about. I hadn't got a clue. So that's why when I fought that first big guy, I hit him so hard because I was just used to it. And he was massive. So like to stop him, I kind of like felt like I had to hit him hard. So I come second there, we did in the team. So that was my first trophy. I still love that trophy.
Wow.
Yeah, your first one.
Yeah.
And I think Paul fought in B team, and he come third, and he got.
Remember the A teams and the B teams?
Yeah,
and the C teams.
remember that. So he was in the B team, and he didn't think he got anything, and he was in the change room. And I ran here, I said, "Oh, you got a trophy? Like, come on, you got one, look." And he come running out, and he was that excited because he borrowed like the old man's car, and he brought a new Escort. And on the way home, he was that excited, he crashed the car on the way home because he like to get back and show like mum and dad the trophy and all that. Like. So that was like the introduction to the competitions for me. I just didn't have a clue really.
And were you just like living it by the day with the competitions, or did you have aspirations of following Howard to world titles? And
no, I don't think. No, not really. I just like as and when it come along really. You just like we didn't really talk about open tournaments. We wasn't really exposed to like open tournaments and stuff really. It was more like our nationals and stuff like where you was exposed to, and obviously the full contact side of things. So really it was just going through my grades and you know, enjoying the actual system I was in, you know.
Were you ECA at this point?
We changed to ECA, I can't remember exactly when we changed to ECA, but I think something happened in the politics of WACO where somebody else got controls of it, you know how these things happen. And the other thing was, where we were trying to be part of a governing body as well.
Okay.
So we kind of had to lose the full part of the full contact. So then to be part of a governing body, like you had to have like, because there was only a karate governing bodies. Originally there was a martial arts commission. I don't know if you ever remember it. My first dan and second dans, my first degree and second degree certificates are actually martial art commission certificates. I've still got them. And then there was the English Karate Board and the English Karate Council. So what happened was, you had to be part of a governing body, you had to do basics, kumite, which is sparring, and kata. So that's why we had a forms element. And as you know, even from right back in the day when we took in cash and all that, took our black belts, we had to do a form for black belts. And it was that set form where I taught all you guys, you know what I mean? So we were doing, even though we was a full contact karate system, we still done throws, we still done empty hand strikes, and we still done forms.
Took a little bit from everything.
Howard's still seen there was an importance for those elements to be there. Do you know what I mean? And he used to get pals to come in from Jap Jiu-Jitsu and do seminars with us and stuff like that. So I actually trained in Jap Jiu-Jitsu later from that, because I enjoyed that. Them seminars that this guy used to come in, and he was a guy who used to train the military and the police and stuff like that. So it was some good stuff we were learning. You know, we evolved then into and lost the full because we wouldn't have got in with the full thing.
So you were there at the birth of ECA?
Oh, ECA, right from the beginning. Obviously we were WACO originally, we went into ECA, and our suits changed to the blue and white suits, then still the full contact style suits, but it was a blue jacket, white trim, white trousers, blue trim, you know, the famous legendary full contact kit that we used to wear,
So when you've gone to ECA, and obviously it was the ECA boom, wasn't it? Instructors.
Huge.
So, you know, I might be a little bit biased, but obviously I feel like you're one of the most technically, if not the most technically gifted instructor that's ever coached in the UK. Was it something on your radar that you wanted to be an instructor, that you wanted to be a coach?
I kind of just fell into it really, man. I'll always be so grateful for Howard for giving me the opportunity, to be honest. You know, he obviously must have seen something in me, you know, because with me, I'm kind of anal on precision. With me, everything has to be right. It's just the way I am.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't know. There's a that in I'm a Virgo, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
one of your traits. But like even with competitions, you know me. I'm
Meticulous.
I'm meticulous. I pay attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
So with technique, I was analytic. You know what I mean? I used to analyse the technique, and I'd break that technique down.
You'd break down the breakdown.
Yeah, because like if I had a technique and I'd look at the syllabus and the hardest technique on there, I'd attack that technique.
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to master it. I'd want to like break it down and to a point where I could build it back together and then be
mechanic.
or mechanical breakdown, body mechanics.
Do you think as well though, because like you see some fighters, like Cash, perfect example, an amazing fighter, legendary fighter. But my thing with Cash is he probably just wanted to go into the gym and hit things. Do you know what I mean?
It's like, listen, I fought full contact as well. I fought in the first ever full contact nationals in 1985. You know, and Howard was always on me to like push on. He always said, "And you could be a professional world champion." He said, "You know, I believe in you that good." You know, but I never had that desire like Cash did. You know what I mean? You've got, the thing is with it now, you've got to really want to do that. It's got to be your only goal,
Your
really.
be-all
Your be-all and end-alls. Like I used to train with Cash hard for these fights, right? I was there with him, sparring pads, you know what I mean? And I'd go off to all these places with Howard and with Corner, Cash, like, and went down to London once and Cash fought. It was a really hard fight. We broke the kid down in the end, stopped him, like, bust him up, and I think it was a 4th round. It was a 5-round fight. But, like, they gave Cash like a little medal. It was like a boxing medal I got like when I was a kid on a piece of string, like, you know, wearing proper ribbon and nothing. I thought, man, that's a lot of sacrifice and work for that, like, you know what I mean? And you know, it's a harsh life, isn't it? You know what I mean? Lonely life at times, but like, you've really got to want that. You've really got to want that and be driven. There's people in our gym, some of them, but they were like, they weren't fighting for themselves. Some of them, not, you know, some people would fight to impress others. Do you know what I mean? And they didn't last long because they weren't fighting for themselves. You know what I mean, don't you? You've got to really want to do it for yourself. Do you know what I mean? So like,
I suppose as well, like you get a lot of like martial artists in the gym, and all they want to do is fight. Whereas your passion was the system and the actual martial art.
I see martial arts as a pie chart. So I see competition as one slice of that pie. There's lots of other elements that make you a complete martial artist, and I was about to complete. I competed, I boxed the full contact, continuous points, and I did forms. So I've done a lot of different.
Understood all the disciplines.
You know, and if my student come to me and said, I'm interested in this, I've got that experience and had that knowledge, and say, I can help you with that. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted to try everything as well, you know, dip your toe in it all. Do you know what I mean?
But it was never your be all and end all.
Nah, I just done enough to like experience it, get the knowledge from it. It wasn't something I was driven to go all the way and do that. But I was confident in my ability. Do you know what I mean? I could hold my own with anybody in anything really. Whatever I put my mind to, I was good at. So sort of, if I fought at things, I'd done well at it. You know what I mean? So it was. I enjoyed forms as much as I enjoyed all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? When I was doing forms, there was some good people like Brian Beck and all that involved in it. You know, Junior Anderson was involved in it. You guys started coming through. You done well at forms through me, obviously, and Sean as well. Sean Loftus as well. He was. You've done well at form, but you were also like European champions.
But do you know what's funny? It's like you look at other people and you think, you know, oh, why are they not doing this, or why are they not doing that? Why are they not doing forms? But you've got to have that technical ability in the first place, haven't you?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like you can't just turn
100%,
around.
because you know me, I was like, my Jean Frenet was my guy.
Yeah.
He was like precise, and you see some forms, they put this music on and do all this stuff, and it's not to the beat. It's Whereas with Jean Frenet, it was like boom, 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 boom. You know, everything was precise.
But he could equally just switch it to a traditional form and be equally as good.
Because he was a traditional, proper, real good traditional background. You know, traditional karate guy. Yeah. So no, you know, I liked being multidisciplined, and then like I passed that on to all you guys. So yeah, I had to go at everything. You know, like I said, I boxed, full contact, points, continuous, and forms. You know what I mean? And I won the nationals 5 or 6 times. You know what I mean? In different forms of fighting,
Different disciplines.
disciplines. Yeah.
So when you started teaching, was that you wanted to make it your career path, or was it just dabbling at
It
first?
was at first. It was, I was teaching full time at first. At first, the early days was like, I was teaching and working and training on the evenings, and then Howard was like, I needed to take over, like, run some of the Birmingham classes. So me and Cash were doing that for him, because obviously he was either fighting for his titles or he was off. So what happened, sometimes go, and can you come with us tonight? We're got to go and cover some clubs. Yeah, sounds like, you know, it'd be me, Levi, Cash, might have been Dalroy, might have been Huey, and we'd all go off like up north somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, and he'd drop me and off somewhere in some pub in some northern town in the middle of nowhere, like, you know what I mean? Then he'd drop like Levi off somewhere else, Dalroy somewhere else, Cash somewhere else, and then he'd go and teach himself, and then we'd have to wait for him to come back
To pick you up on the
because
way
we're
back.
all in these different towns.
So hours after your class is finished.
Because I'm coming down there, this weird town, like, in my bag, and like 10 o'clock at night, so outside some pub in the middle of, I didn't
No mobile phones.
No, I was like 17 or 18, and you just have to hang about. You know, there's no like McDonald's and all that,
Yeah.
you could go into and hang about, like, and then like he'd come and get you, like, it could be like an hour and a half after.
And was this the franchise £5 an hour days? Yeah.
It now, man, £5 an hour, and like I remember I started the Daventry Club. I went down to Daventry, and I had the Hare and Hounds Club then, and I was teaching above the Hare and Hounds. Good club, good people, and I had a good secretary there, John, I think his name was, and he had a car and driving then, right? And I said, can you go and cover this Daventry Club? It's miles away, innit? You know what I mean? Daventry, especially like back then, like, it's not, you know, things are more accessible then. So I said to him, like, will you come and I'll pay you, like. So I was teaching and giving him the drum money. So I was like teaching for nothing, really, but like
the passion.
Yeah, it was just passion. I was doing what I was doing. I loved it, like, you know. So I started there with about 7 people, and I built that up to 4 or 5 hours with like 30 people in every class. It's massive, and like I was getting like £5 an hour. Yeah, and I couldn't sustain it, so I handed that over, and that's where Junior come into it. He took that over. Obviously he was Daventry and Northampton, so he was down that way, and I think they franchised him in somehow. I'm not sure how he come in, but I'm sure he come in from, he had like a Kung Fu background originally.
Right.
I think so, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he was Lau originally.
I think he was originally. I think, like, you know, he was like sort of franchised in down there. Yeah, so we used to go all over the country setting up these clubs with Howard, like, and getting them off the ground, teaching them, and then eventually they'd get somebody in that area to come in. And
that was like the ECA UK boom, wasn't it? And that's
massive, you know what I mean?
That's why you see an awful lot of martial artists all the way around the country, and at some point they've passed through the ECA system.
We were massive. There was, when we used to go up to the office in John Bright Street, or when we was down the Aldridge Road, we used to keep moving around. There was a big map of the UK in there, and you know, them little coloured pinheads.
Yeah.
You couldn't see the map And everyone in Pinheads was one of our clubs. It was massive.
Wow.
Huge, mate. Honest to God. That's why our nationals are so big.
Yeah.
Our nationals were bigger than most open tournaments you see today.
I remember fighting in the ECA Nationals, I think it was 1986 or something, as a peewee. Yeah. And having my first fight at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And worked the way through, and I think my last fight was about like 3:30 in the afternoon.
I fought in finals at 10 o'clock at night, sometimes 9:30, and you'd wade in at like 8, 9 in the morning. You'd help referee all day. You were fighting in between. Your finals were held back then. Yeah. Used to be later on the night. So I've done that. You were there in the big one in West Bromwich Garden.
Yeah. Wow.
But that when you fought Roy Rutherford in the final.
I must have fought Roy Rutherford about 40, 50 times in the final.
Nemesis, were they?
And I think he had more wins over me than I had over him. But, so, obviously, teaching in ECA, building up your experience as an instructor. Yeah. And then through the politics of ECA, where a lot of people left.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work in ECA, because I go back to when we were trying to get involved with the governing body. So what happened I used to go to then the meetings of the EKB and the EKC, because they were trying to get the recognition as a governing body as the EKGB, which is the English Karate governing body. So I used to go to the Nova Hotel in Coventry to the meetings there. And there was always a representative from Sport England, but the problem was there was fractions between EKB and EKC, like old things, I remember the guy standing up from the Sport England once. He said, like, if you people just can't get on, he says, I'm just going to leave and we'll just withdraw this process, So anyway, they eventually got together, and I seen the need for a coaching program for ECA, do you know what I mean? So I was badgering their coaching officers from the two groups, and I got in touch with Peter Allen, who was high up in the traditional karate, and Suzanne Jennery as well, she was eventually, them two were eventually the coaching guys for the EKGB. So what I'd done was, I was badgering and then they must have thought it was pest, because I wanted the criteria for it. I wanted to know what the criteria was so I could bring it back to ECA and get all our guys up to speed with regards to correct methods, current methods of coaching, and get them qualified, get them recognised. So anyway, I eventually got the criteria, and I looked at it, and I said to myself, we need some external help here. So I went and got in touch with, back then it was called the National Coaching Foundation. Right. So I got in touch with them guys, and they were based at the Monroe Sports Centre at Birmingham University. Got myself along there and had a look at what they were doing. They were offering courses in strength and flexibility, prevention and treatment of injury, working with people with disabilities, coaching practices. But this was kind of proper national level. These were recognised coaching sort of diplomas, that we could go and get, for all our guys. So I went back to because I was on the executive committee back then of ECA. They created a committee, so I was an executive committee member, and I went back to ECA and I said to Howard, and Deb was with us then. And I said, look, I want to do this, but can we help the guys? Can we subsidise these so where the instructors pay half, ECA pay half, And they said, yeah. So we done that, and we put all the instructors in ECA through this coaching program, and we devised our own technical side with regards to syllabus, and then anchored it with the National Coaching Foundation courses, which opened us all up to new ways of warming up. And brought in cool down. We never used to cool down, right? And our warm up was bow and static stretching. Do you know what I mean? But then we learned that now, it must be cardiovascular, and it's got to be start off low and build up, and you got to build up your cardio and your range of movement, but it's got to be dynamic and moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and constant. And then at the end, you bring it down the opposite
So
way.
knowledge and education, isn't it?
Education. So like we basically created, I created a whole education program for all the instructors at ECA, and then I was an assessor. Then I got to the level where I was an assessor with the EKGB for the Midlands. So I could assess our instructors and even people from other traditional arts and everything, because you know I got in with them right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So they seen I was like, and you know, I had to send them my portfolio, and then they accepted me as an assessor, and they were using me to assess other people. So like, I've done a lot of work in ECA.
So, being with ECA for so long, and obviously having all your roots in ECA, what was the reason that you broke away in the end?
The reason I broke away was things were happening behind the scenes that I weren't too happy with, which I won't go into really. How was there less? And we kind of like stopped progressing, stopped learning. The syllabus wasn't progressing. You weren't really like we were up. A lot of us were coming up for our fourth stands, I think. You know, and there was no syllabus for that. It was just getting stale.
You feel like you were outgrowing it?
Yeah, and then I found that some people weren't paying what I was paying when they should have been,
right,
with regards to franchises and stuff like that. And then I did, you know me, I'm not about money. It was never a money decision. Do you know what I mean? It was a number of things that were happening in the background which weren't quite right. You know what I mean? And so I felt it was time. That weren't easy for me.
No, of course not.
That. You know me, I was right in there at the top with ECA, and
but you were mulling it over for a few years before you actually made
that,
the move.
yeah, there was kind of things going on in the background, you know, that it's sort of like you could see things weren't right.
So moved over and formed MACK.
Yeah.
And you've been at the forefront of really developing MACK and changing it. Obviously it's your baby, you can do what you want with it. So you brought a lot of different elements into your syllabus, didn't you, when you formed MACK? What year was MACK formed?
It was 1995.
Right.
No, 96, yeah, 96 we formed. So what I started doing was I was training in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, so I wanted to get more skill in that, because I'd had a taster of it with Howard when he brought some of his pals in to do people he knew in that system. And also I remember watching Keith Pele Nathan's guys Muay Thai, and like we've already talked about, good fighters but good technicians as well. I thought like even in Thai they were like technically really, really good. So I contacted Keith and he come down and we started doing some Thai seminars, and he put me on the pads and that while the seminars were going on. So I was learning some more Thai with him. Master Sken, done a lot of work with him, bringing him down. I think you guys come over for some of the seminars with him. We'd already had the influence from Master Toddy, from Howard, and going to train with Master Toddy. So we had that influence, and Ronnie Green used to come down to the club. Actually sparred with Ronnie a few times when he come down to train with us, you know, as well, you know, for his upcoming fights.
So all these different elements I
wanted to bring that together. So I kind of brought all that into the fold, and I wanted a system. What I liked about the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, when they go to the ground, it's like street fighting on the ground. It's like they had a lot of guys who were doormen. They had a lot of guys who trained the military, police and stuff like that. So it was quite nitty gritty. And then when they went to that transition to the ground, they were really clued up on like when you go to the ground of how to fight on the ground, basically. So I wanted our system to be start from legs, then you know medium range punches, your close quarter work, and then your stand up grappling, and then transition throws, takedowns to the ground, and then on the ground, not sport on the ground. I wanted them to be able to, if you ever, there's a lot of fights, like fights end up on the floor.
So street defense.
So like street sort of knowledge, sort of like, the way I look at it is just, you can't say to people, if you do this and do that, it's going to work. We just cover as many scenarios and give them as many tools as we can. That it's a reflex, it's awareness, and it might kick in, and it might save them. Do you know what I mean? That's how we look at it. That's our philosophy on it. So like, so I wanted to add to it and create a system that was.
Do you feel like MACK is always evolving as well, as because you're really hungry for knowledge? And
always. Yeah,
you learn something. Filter it through.
Of course, 100%. I changed a few things where, like spinning back fists with Eka and was 2 straight line steps.
Yeah.
So I looked at, when you do spinning back fists, it's a circle.
Yeah.
If you do 2 straight line steps, you lose that circular motion. So you know me, when I analyse techniques, I change that footwork straight away.
Yeah.
So I changed it, and watching people throw spinning back fist in full contact, the way I watched their motion, the way they used to throw it, and I changed everything about that.
But again, it's the breakdown.
It's like, how can you have 2 straight feet, steps with the feet, when the technique's a circular motion?
But this is the thing I think about a lot of martial arts and a lot of styles. A lot of things just don't get questioned because this is the way we do it, this is the way that we've been taught to do it.
Now I challenge that.
You analyse that.
I challenge that all the time. I study my syllabus myself. So I rewrite the syllabus on a regular basis, because what I do is, over a period you find out where people can cope and what fits where more. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you have to say, that needs to go there, that needs to move up. You probably done that yourself, 100%, because you kind of like, you put it in there and you kind of analyse it. You know from studying your students, are they coping with that at that level? So I'm kind of continually analysing it, and also looking for better ways to do that individual technique.
I think that's the beauty of running your own, or driving your own car, sailing your own ship. You've got the authority to be able to change things.
I mean, I would never question that spinning back fist while I was at because I just wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Because of my respect for my seniors. The one thing that I've always had is, I've got a lot of respect for people who gave me what I've got today. And the discipline and the etiquette, that I still hold today with my people. I've got, so I wouldn't sort of challenge anything then, but when I left, I looked and made changes to things that I felt would work better.
And I suppose as well, when you look at a blanket syllabus, especially with Eka, and no disrespect to any of the old school Eka instructors that have come before, but some of them didn't have the technical ability to be able to teach certain techniques.
No, they didn't.
So they're not going to try and build on that.
No, that's right. They're just going to stick to what they know. Whereas that wasn't our banner. Is our headline is the way forward. Do you know what I mean? So the way forward is constantly evolving. Evolution.
And your oldest son Brad has taken over the day-to-day instruction at MACK, and you've kind of handed over the reins in some ways. Do you still have much involvement on the instruction level?
I do. I'm in a MACK because you probably know, I had some scans before Christmas. I weren't too well last year, but I got the all clear after that. So last year wasn't a great year for me. So I've been in and out. I'm always there and sort of advising them and getting all the gearing and teaching them the trade basically, passing on my knowledge to them. So but I always teach everywhere. I do the fight class every Wednesday. I do black belt courses every month. So once you become blue belts with us, there's 3 elements with us. There's novice, intermediate and advanced. So white, yellow, orange will be your novice section. From orange your belts start going dark. So green, purple, blue is your intermediate. And then from blue you're allowed to turn up to the black belt courses where all blue belts and above come together.
And that's when they get a chance to train with you specifically.
Yeah, with me and all the other instructors and all the other high grades. So it's like a step up.
Yeah.
So we see as green belt as not just another grade, it's a step up to another level.
Yeah.
And then we see blue belt as not just another grade, it's another step up to another level.
Yeah.
And another commitment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've got to commit.
We need more. No?
Yeah. So now, like again, now if they don't turn up to them, they'll never get a black belt with us.
Yeah.
If they don't turn up to the fight class to prepare, they'll never get a black belt with us.
Yeah.
So we make it clear to them that there's things that you have to sacrifice, there's things you need to do. Do you know what I mean? Because when you come for your black belt, you've got to know your syllabus and you've got to be able to fight.
Yeah, don't hand out black belts.
No. And that's what I grew up with. Do you know what I mean? If don't matter how good technically I was on that grading with Howard, if at the end of it you couldn't stand up and fight, you got nothing. You know that.
Yeah.
You went home unhappy.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? You've got a duty of care as an instructor. People are coming to learn to defend themselves. And if they can't, sometimes the book will rest with you unless you're doing everything that you can as an instructor to prepare these people for every eventuality. You gotta
be like, you've got to be able to defend, because at the end of the day it's a contact sport. And you've got to be able to look after yourself, otherwise we're fooling them, and they're fooling themselves. So at that level they sign up to be taken really serious, and there's a pathway and a program that they have to adhere to. And you make it clear, if you don't adhere to that, you've found your level. You're never going to get anything from us.
And obviously before today, and like most people wouldn't have known a lot of the things that you've said today. I've learned a few things myself, but most people know you for as being the ICO World President. So tell us a little bit more how the organisation was formed and how it was founded. And how you've seen it grow and develop over the years.
It's quite a long story really, because obviously it started with ISKA, didn't it? You know what I mean? So I was just going along teaching my clubs and producing fighters every now and again that come to me and said, I want to fight, and we'd bring them up to a real good level, and just plodding on like that. And I got a call from Paul the one day, and he said, can you get any fighters together in I think it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It was really short notice anyway. I said, for what? And he said, there's this European Championships in Germany, I've got to send some people there. So I said, I probably can, I'm not sure how many I'll get, but I'll try and. He says, I've got to do it. And I think what it was, he had the ISKA, but he weren't doing a lot with it. And I think if he didn't do something at that time, he might have lost it.
Right.
I think that was looking back, I think that was sort of the thing behind it, because he was also WACO Pro at the time.
Right.
And he was working with them.
So WACO Pro, he was ISKA Pro, but wasn't doing a lot with the amateur.
There was nothing the amateur side, you know what I mean? So I thought, I'll see what I can do to help him out. So anyhow, I think I got together about 12, 15 of us, some of them your guys. Kaz fought, didn't he?
Yeah. I think that was his first international.
So I brought Kaz. I think there was another lad from yours, and then Sue Fell got involved, and she had a few as well. I can't remember who else was with us. Anyway, I threw it together and got some England kit together for him, and turned up in Germany, and we done all right. There was only 12 of us. Kaz won, I think. Your other lad got second in the final, I think. So some of Sue Fowles did okay. A couple of them got goals, some of them got bronzes and stuff. So we didn't do too bad, and I met all the guys. Fritz Exenberg was the European president at the time. Corey Schaefer was there, obviously he was the world president, and I got on really well with a lot of the presidents there. They liked us and that. So yeah, I went back and it was like a successful trip. And then Paul said, do you want to do something with that? And I said, well, if I'm doing it, I want to do it properly. It's got to be done, you know, like anything I do.
Yeah.
If you ain't going to do it right, I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I got stuck into that. I created, there was no website, so I got a website made. There was no licensing, so I created licensing. There was no syllabus or coaching, so I created syllabus and put grading officers in place, coaching, a complete coaching program together. Then started getting you guys involved on the national coaching, because the way I looked at it and the way it's worked for us is that I've had people in charge of different disciplines, like delegating head coaches in particular disciplines that I could know and trust and work with, and were passionate like me to make it work. And that really worked well for us. The next year we went to Szentes in Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought one of my lads, really good for scrap. It was Adam Bailey.
Yeah.
Good. He was 6-0, full contact, undefeated, and world and European champion. He won the ISKs in Szentes, the Europeans, and he not just won it. He also got adult fighter of the tournament.
Wow.
So I brought him and 3 or 4 other guys from my tournament. So I think we went with about 70 guys to that.
It was a great tournament.
Good tournament. Went to that. That was all good. Come back. Kept working. Next year was Olamesh, Czech Republic.
Yeah, right. Probably the best.
The best.
Tournament. It was brilliant.
Really high standard. We had about, again, I doubled. We had about 150, 130, 150 fighters. Big team, strong team. You know, it was a good tournament, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Went out there, done well again. Got ripped off by the Czechs for about 3 or 4 grand. You know, tried to sort it out with the hierarchy. Waste of time. So that was like one little dent.
The crack started to appear.
Yeah, so went the next year, kept working. Don't forget then we was having English championships, British championships, we was in all the magazines.
Yeah.
You know,
built it up from scratch.
Yeah, really.
Something.
Yeah, building the profile of it, like, you know what I mean, from nothing to something. Then the next year was Rome. Right.
Was that 2009?
2009. Yeah. Massive team. Nearly doubled it. I think I had 220 people on that squad. Huge. Gets there now and like you're weighing in on like a bathroom scales, you know what I mean?
On cobbles.
On cobbles. You could lean back on the scales and take like 5 kilos off, you know. It was 30 degrees outside, there was no air conditioning in the place, it was probably 60 inside.
Yeah.
Got to the place and luckily, as I do, I kept this email and I said to Fee, I'm printing it off and bringing it with me, because I kept asking him how much of the spectators to get. And he said, it's nothing, it's free. So I get a phone call because I'm on the train to get there, like, with Fee and the kids, and they said they don't want let us in. I said, what do you mean? They said they're going to pay like the spectators. I said, no, it's free. So like I got up there and like, all my teams that being held outside, and who's going on, you go up. And there's this other guy, I don't know if it was Mafia or what, but I said, I don't even know you, I don't even talk to you. I was dealing with this one, Scriletti or something his name was. And I said, there's the email. Right, and I showed it to the other clown who was like playing up. And then they just shut up. I said, let my team in now. So all the team got in. And anyway, it weren't great, was it? There was none of the Italian kids.
They lost all the paperwork.
Lost all the paperwork. There was our kids were waiting for the Italian kids, and then we had to wait till Wednesday or something. And then
they were at school, and then they never
turned up. They were supposed to be at school. So there was one girl there. Bless her, she come with all the family. and waited 4 days to fight.
Every day they said that she waited, and then it was like, you're going to be on tomorrow all day, you're going to be on tomorrow, 4 days.
She got into fight, and it was supposed to be against an Austrian girl. And the Austrians called to me and said, Andrew, we told them on day one, this girl is not even in Italy, she's at home.
Yeah.
Of course, she just broke
down, yeah.
Right. So anyway, this is after I went to the Congress meeting on the night, the World Congress meeting, and they're all in there from all your countries in that lot. And then obviously they started the meeting. And he was, going on, and like, what's going on? And I said, we need to address some of the problems we've had today, like, you know what I mean? I was kind of ashamed to be ice gay today, what's going on? And then Corey Shafi goes, take your badge off then. Well, that's what he said to me, like, imagine now I'm sitting around, I've just brought 220 people to this
crap tournament,
right, and like, I'm there with all the presidents, and like, he said something like that to me, like, you know what I mean? So to say I was annoyed was like an understatement. So anyway, Chris was beside me, and he grabbed my arm. He said, "Just leave your hand."
That's Chris Sparks.
Chris Sparks, yeah. And so I got him afterwards, like, had a chat to him. I won't tell you what I'd done, but like, I had a chat with him, like, privately. And then the next day I took all my stuff off. I was just in my shorts.
Decision had been made.
Yeah, done. I'm done. That was enough for me. Yeah. Because you don't get better if you don't address issues.
Yeah,
how do you get better if you don't evaluate what you're doing?
And the thing is, you've got to have feedback for that.
Yeah, of course.
That woman that was let down.
Yeah. Well, no, that was this is what I'm coming to. It was after that. So I was just helping the lads, coaching. I wouldn't do anything. I just didn't want to know. I took anything to do with ice skate off me. I was done. And I was walking along, and like, the president comes running backwards. Can we talk? And I just said, no, not at the minute. I'm busy, like, with my team. And then eventually he come again. He said, look, can we chat? And I had a chat with him. But he weren't going to go anywhere. And I told him that, like, do you know what I mean? And just as I was setting up the meeting with him, that happened with that girl. And I said, yeah, this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Look at that woman there. I've got to go and deal with that man and her family. So this is what I'm trying to
spending thousands of pounds to get there.
They had it as their holiday. It cost them like $2,500 to get there. Do you know what I mean? I don't rip people off with that packages, but it was still a lot of money for a family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, this is what you're offering. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I mean? This thing could have been avoided, but nah. And then, like, back then I had 4 kids under 10. We didn't have a lot of money, and because I was the only one working, and Fee was looking after the kids, and she was doing all the admin for me on the side, and I'd put a lot of money into ISKA over the 4 years I was in it. Like, just before we left to go to Rome, like, Paul rang me and said, I want money, like. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I want this much per head. And I said, well, look, this hasn't paid me back yet. There's a plan, there's like a 5-year plan. That once it's paid me back and I start doing okay out of it, then I'll happily, sort of give you your bits, not a problem. Like, but that happened before I even left.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, but it weren't like I could have planned it in earlier. It was like just before we went, kind of thing. Yeah. It was already all sorted by then, like all the budget and everything. So, and that was just like the start of it, really.
The treatment in Rome was kind of like the straw that
was
camel's back.
Funny, yeah. It was the way I tried to address and then the way it was almost trying to, instead of like openly discuss it, it was like I was shut down.
Yeah.
Or tried to be shut down. You know what I mean?
I think that's the one thing about ICO, isn't it? You always encourage debate.
Yeah.
from like at the AGMs, you'll always say, listen, put it, like if you've got a problem, put it on the table.
Cards on the table, yeah. Listen, there's
No
very
egos.
little that can't be put right through discussion, sensible discussion and debate. You know what I mean? It's not, you're not always going to come to an agreement, or not where everybody's totally happy. But you sort of, a lot of times you do thrash it out.
Yeah.
And you do come to a compromise, and people are happy. But like, don't be like screwing around in the background.
Yeah.
Put your you know me, I say put your cards on the table. If you've got anything to say at this meeting, straight talk, put it on now. Just let's have it out. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I do the business, you know that, and that's why we've got such a strong team and we've been successful.
So going back to Rome, when I remember you got all the national officers, and you sat them down and you said, guys, listen, don't even need to tell you how bad this tournament has been. You've seen it for yourself. Just to let you know, I'm out.
Yeah.
And we were all talking around the table, and then I don't know who suggested it, but it's like, listen, ISK, this isn't ISK, this is you. You've developed this. Why not pick it up and put it somewhere else? Put a different set of initials to it and run our own ship. I think it took you a little bit of time to...
Yeah, it did, because I never had in, like, they've done a lot of bad behaviour, but like, they tried to say that this ICO was already set up before we even got to Rome, which is ridiculous. You know, listen, I was ISK through and through, you know that. I tried with that, do you know what I mean? And I put a lot into it, and I was successful, do you know what I mean? They'd never seen a team that big in all the years I was with them. And I never seen any American fighters there in 40 years, not one. Do you know what I mean? So like, I'd done my bit with regards to making it work and being a success, but it was run as a proper association. It had everything. It weren't just about the fighting.
So when it comes to kind of like transferring it over to ICO, the blueprint was already there, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of like we had why change a thing that's working? Do you know what I mean? So like the blueprint that I'd set up with ISK, I just transferred it, but I was walking away.
Yeah.
It was you guys really who I was very proud at the time, where all you guys stuck with me. Just said, look, we're not here for badges, we're here for you. You know what I mean? So that was great for me to hear that. Obviously gave me confidence, and then when we got back, I kept getting calls and emails saying, look, come on, let's keep going, let's do this. So then we had the meeting in, I think it was the October or November, wasn't it?
That was funny, because I remember when we had the meeting, we didn't even have a name.
We didn't have a name, That's what I mean, when they tried to say this was all done beforehand and he's just walked away and took it. Rubbish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And anybody who knows me knows I wouldn't have done that anyway. So like, now it's like a brand new concept, brand new name, and we've all got together and we were thrashing it out, and we come up with the International Combat Organisation at that meeting.
And hit the ground running.
And we've had from 2010 through the contacts that I had and built. I was travelling around and meeting people and spending a lot of time, bringing people into the fold from different countries. We had the World Championships from 2010, literally the next year. Like in the fall we started in the fall of 2009, and we had our first Worlds in the fall of 2010 in Germany.
Yeah. And had successful championships every year all the way through.
Yeah, all the way through. You know what I mean? And I've tried to work with other people. I tried to give our team exposure in the unifieds when that first kicked off. I'm not just about me and us. I've worked with anybody, and I have tried to work with people and bring this sport together for the last, 15 years or so, but it's just impossible.
Yeah, I think, I think with the politics of martial arts as well, it's like you form a connection with individuals, and then those individuals move on. It's like you don't form a connection with the association, it's the individuals within the associations, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, we've had really good championships, you know. Some of them have been great, either they've been good fighting, but I've had issues in the background with logistics and people who promise things and don't do them, you know. You have to have a certain element of trust with people, and sometimes they let you down.
But when you say that as well, it's like that's even developed now, because when you get a prospect of a championships in the country, you travel, you see the hotels, you see the sports halls.
Yeah, we go and do that, we check everything out, you know. Obviously last year we couldn't with the Euros in Hungary. It was just some of the teams just said, look, we want to do, some of the fighters want to get out and do it, and we were supposed to have it in Germany, and their COVID thing went through the roof. We had to move it from Germany at last minute to Hungary. But we've done it, you know. We had about 12 countries, just under 300 fighters, and the standard of fighting was great, you know what I mean? We didn't have Kiat because they weren't ready for it, they weren't set up for it or trained for it, which was, we went back to the old paper format. We had a few issues with that. I'm always honest about things now, you know what I mean? That weren't brilliant, but the standard of fighting was good, and we'd done it in very difficult times. There weren't many people who had a world or European championships last year. We did. We still had something, you know, and there was good attendance from the countries, good little mix of countries. It wasn't the biggest, but it was good. It was standard, was good. People had a good scrap when they were there. And you know, Ferry done well to pull it together. We just all pulled together on the day. That's what we're all about. You know, I was reffing Winnie and Thierry, and we all just got mucked in, got it done, you know what I mean? Got it done, got through the issues, and we had the Europeans last year in the height of COVID.
So obviously, like the COVID's just a big reset for everybody, isn't it? And it's like finding your feet back again. But in terms of everything up until COVID, you're happy with the progression of ICO and excited for its future?
You know, excited, you know. It was nice, although COVID was horrible and it affected us all. I think kind of after 10 or 11 years I was quite tired. It's been hard work, a lot of graft, because, you know, I'm running MACK, I'm an electrical contractor, I still work, and you know, running ICO, it's a lot of hours. I work sometimes 18-hour days, you know what I mean? And somebody wants you all the time. You kind of like, I love my martial arts, but it can like take control. Like somebody always wants you. Get calls at like 11 o'clock on a Sunday evening and stuff like that. I'm sure you do yourself, but like it can be quite consuming.
So it was a nice recharge.
It was like a recharge of the batteries and that, like, you know. And also, like, sometimes you have to like backpedal a little bit and make sure you're not doing too much and look after yourself a bit as well, and spending time with the family and stuff as well. Like, you have to be careful. It does teach you that there has to be a balance. For
100%.
what you're doing in life as well.
So from student to fighter to coach to chief instructor to association head, looking back, what makes you most proud?
One of my proudest days is when I come back from my injury, from my arm. I had a bad injury in my arm, and I had to get my arm, but, you know, it was set there.
Nearly lost your arm?
Yeah, lost my arm, lost the use of my arm. It was just a couple of inches and I would have been in serious trouble. I'd have been
That was work.
Sheet metal at the Rover went straight through my arm. It was a works accident, and basically this part of my forearm was peeled off. The muscles was severed through, and I could see the two bones. And
what was that, 1990, 89, 90?
1990, yeah. Fee was pregnant with Brad. I'd won the Nationals that year, so I had to like take a couple of years out. And I was disappointed with Groningen as well, because I got a lot of fatigue in front of Groningen, really bad. You know, I wanted to do well at that, and I trained really hard for that.
As a world championship, so WK?
Yeah, and we travelled 22 hours to get there, weighed in at 8 o'clock in the morning. I think I warmed up about a dozen times, went to the actual mat a few times with the cards to fight, and I think later, what I didn't do, I wasn't eating because I was thinking we were going to be on at any time, and sort of like got fatigued really bad. So like I've never felt like that before. It was really like I couldn't even lift my arms. It was like real bad, but I think it was because I weren't eating and sort of like the trip and everything. And then they didn't start stepping on the mats till like 1 in the morning. Nobody done any good. Like everybody thought bad.
Wiped out.
Everybody got wiped out. Even the real good Cliff, Brown, Derek had nobody done any good because it was just, you know. So I was like disappointed with that. Then but I'd won the nationals, and then I come back 92. So. Because I had to get my arm back working again, get my fitness back up.
Did you think your journey could have been over then?
I know when they said I was like I just had to go to a hand clinic and do lots of physio.
But initially with the...
I thought I was done because I didn't really, because when I'd done it at the accident, and it was a bad and I was blue lighted all the way to town. It was the old accident hospital on Bath Road, which is gone. But like I was falling asleep because of blood loss and that, and they kept waking me, don't go to sleep, kept turning blue lights. So I was like, I think I was going under. I thought it was really bad, like, you know what I mean? Straight in, like, out operation. The nurse at work left my ring on, my wedding ring, so my hand had to cut my wedding ring off. And because she panicked on this, because she seen my arm and she just went. She's like the nurse, like, and she forgot to. She first should have took my ring off. They told me that in the hospital afterwards. I had to cut it off because my hand swelled up. They couldn't get the ring off, so they cut my wedding ring off. So it was quite a bad injury. And then like I thought I had this big thing on my arm. I had to sleep sitting up with this big hook thing by my bed with my arm raised and stuff. And I think I had 37 stitches or something on the outside, but all my muscles had to be sewn back together internally as well. So then I had a lot of getting it. You know, it didn't feel right. Even now, look, if it's a cold, damp night, you still feel it now. Look, you know, but like it was never really right. You know what I mean? It probably is right, but it just feels weak. If you know what I mean. It feels like when you close your fist. Like if I do a strength grip with you say that's a strong grip. To me, it don't feel strong. It's weird.
But incredible to think that it was almost like you almost lost your arm and you've got the use that you've got back in.
It was lucky that it wasn't down here where my guides are and stuff, because that's when it would have been like, probably crippled and worse.
So most proud coming back from that?
Coming back from that is about the nationals, after that. Because I think some people doubted me after Groningen as well, and I was on a bit of a mission. So like, I always come back to that nationals, and like people were saying, "Oh, you're fighting today." They were like asking, they were like worried about me. And I'm thinking, hang on, you've been fighting for 2 years constant. And like you're all like European and world champions and everything. What are you worried about me coming back for? You know what I mean? So like, I was on a bit of a mission that day. So I won the middleweight division, took everybody out, and on that day. And to be honest, I didn't even get into second gear. I was just on a mission.
Wouldn't be denied.
Nah. So like, I won that, won the forms as well. And then you guys fought with me in the teams and won. And
so you got the triple?
Got the triple on that day. And the good thing about the team thing, and the most proudest thing about that is that you were all my boys. There was a lot of hybrid teams in Eka, because we fought all the hard teams like Coventry and Bristol and we fought hard teams on that day, but they were all hybrid teams. There were people who come from, they weren't like
a couple of ringers.
There was ringers in there. They were all like traditional Wadaroo and had kung fu and low guard background, so they were already like well schooled before they come into Eka. But you were just my boys who had come through the Eka system with me
from scratch.
and we blasted them. Do you know what I mean? And on that day, like there was World and European Championships in there, but I won.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, and it does happen to your eyes too, but you're only as good as your next tournament, your next fight, really.
Of course.
You shouldn't put yourselves on too high on pedestals, man.
Was that the last time you competed?
Nah, I fought again in. I had another I went for my third day. All the valves stopped working in my legs, and especially my left side. And I had this growth on my leg, man. It was like a fist, and that's not exaggeration. It was like a big growth. Where what happens is when the blood, because of gravity, the blood falls back down your leg, and your leg creates more vessels. And I was getting ready to spar for my third dan, and in with Howard, and it was full contact with low kick and knee. Mm-hmm. And I was putting extra pads, and I said, "What are you putting 3 pads on your knee, on your shin for?" And I took it off, and he was like, "Oh, what's that?" And it was like massive. Like, I said, "I've got to protect it." I said, "Because if it hits anything, it's killed. It's really painful." So like at that point, I couldn't kick pads. Every time I sparred, if you catch people's elbows and stuff, or just connecting was like really painful. So I had to have an operation on that, and that was horrible. It really knocked me about. That I was sick for a while. So I had all the veins stripped out of my legs. When things were changing in my life, I was like, my little boy Brad was born. I just started shift working as well, like before my accident. So like I just bought a house, and my life was kind of changing. Like so, like my responsibilities were changing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I had a little family. Had a house, and like when you first buy a house when you're young, because nobody tells you about all the bills and that. Like it's like you work out the mortgage and that, but then like all these other bills come in, and you think, man, nobody tells you about that. You got no schooling in that, like, and it's like, I've got to go out and earn and do. So I was cut down. I was only teaching on a Sunday then, just on a Sunday morning. So I cut it all back. So I wasn't as. And I was training in my other styles and all that as well, trying to get used to, build that up at the time. So I fought I've come back and won that in 92, won all that, and then 93, I think I had this, and things were just like busy. Dane was born, I had 2 boys under 3. And then I come back in 94 and fought you guys again. 94.
Was that where was that?
I think we were back at Stockton Green.
Right, one of the nationals.
Yeah, I come back and fought then. And that was my last one, so I fought on and off between 83 and 94.
So a decent run.
Yeah, on and off. And I've done my bit, I was happy with that.
Any regrets?
Nah, not really. I wouldn't say I regret anything. No. No, I'm kind of happy, No, I don't look back and really wished I'd done anything different, really. I suppose we've all got regrets in some way.
Little regrets along the way.
Yeah, little regrets, but nothing that like sticks in my head and you say, "Oh, I wish I'd have done that." No, I think I'm really proud of who. If you look around the Midlands, especially, we produce a lot of people. A lot of people who are producing good people now. Do you know what I mean? If you look about Winston and Colin and Arky, Michael Hudson, great martial artist, brilliant Mokka Kung Fu, come down to us and got involved with us, great kid, brilliant martial art, good fighter. Yourself, Wayne, Sean, really, people who are around, good people, and I'm really proud. That's another proud thing, proud of the people we've developed and what they're doing and what you're doing, seeing you guys grow up into men and run your own schools and businesses. I'm immensely proud of that, to have a part in that. I'm immensely proud of my sons being involved, doing what I love. Seeing them fight in the 2011 World Championships in Germany and doing well. You know, and they're technically really good kids. They're like,
well, you wouldn't have it any other way, would you?
They've got all the tools. They're good boys. Even though Brad works so hard to like turn my old school mentality around and change the clubs into like what they are now. You know, he really has worked hard, bless him, in modernising things and
commercialising.
Yeah, you know, so branding.
Yeah.
I kind of like was a bit sceptic at first because I didn't want to lose the quality.
Yeah, of course.
But like with my involvement, is like I've created a really good balance there, where our quality's still good, still producing. In fact, like the breaking our classes down into the age groups, it's keeps the quality there. It's easier to teach as well. You know, us through the years, you'd get a class of 30 people, it could be 20 grades on them. And you'd like off your head, you're teaching them, because the way our brains worked, I had my syllabus in my head. I didn't need to look at a book. I could tell you every technique of every syllabus like that. Because I studied it and analysed it. I knew it, so I could like go through and just teach on the spot and teach everybody.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's like your class or your association has got to be able to operate with you not there.
Yeah.
You know, that's a side because the association shouldn't just be dependent on you.
Yeah.
It should be dependent on the system.
That's right, the system.
Which is something that I'm learning.
That's what you're doing now, So now, like, Brad's really worked hard, bless him, and I've helped him with how we break. We've got 3 syllabuses for the little ninjas. They've got their own syllabus. The cadets have got theirs between 7 and 12. And once you're 13, you move on to the adult syllabus. So that's again the way forward in analysing syllabus and what age groups can cope with what techniques and how many techniques, and we've analysed that and seen how that's gone and seen that the kids can cope well with the syllabus, and if we need to tweak it, we're always tweaking it. So I'm really proud of the boys that's their living and they're both teaching. Dane's absolutely brilliant with the kids. Absolutely brilliant with the kids, and such a clever fighter as well. Dane's really like a brain fighter, very clever, thinks outside the box. So I'm really proud of the boys that they're involved in something I've been involved in for like nearly 40 years.
It must be nice to see the progression. And the bloodline
carried on, and I'm still heavily involved in what we do, and getting all this stuff, you know, sort of marketed, and we're still getting the branding change, improving it all the time. I'm going to open up like some more. I'm getting back into shape, as I said, like you know, I'm going to open up some more clubs. I'm going to start teaching like proper again, because I've been coming in like. Because like Brad like gets all the new people there. He works like 18-hour days himself now. He can answering people at like 1 in the morning and stuff. You know, so he can get like 500 messages, but you probably have to speak to one person a dozen times 500. You know what I mean? So he's doing all that in the background. I get there and I do the enrolment, and we've got all the stuff. And when people speak to me, because of my knowledge and history, you know, I'll get 99.9%.
Sells itself.
I'm no hard sell with me. I'm just telling history, what we're about, and have a go, see if you like it.
I think people shop around as well. They shop around and then they'll get
so they
and
should.
Go, wow, you guys are doing
so they should. You know what I mean? But there's no hard sell with us, and like it's going really well. Obviously, COVID hit us hard, but we've built it back up again now since, and like we're going to keep focusing and building it back up.
So plans for the future? Are there any martial arts boxes left to see?
I've always wanted to train in Thailand, like in one of the Thai camps on the beach. Just go and just do like kind of like to get more knowledge, but like just kind of a
to-do list,
training holiday thing as well,
Yeah.
like kind of thing. More, not like deadly serious, just to go and do it. Like I think I've always wanted to do it from ages ago. I really like Thai, like the system. I think they're hard as nails.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And, you know, I've worked with Andy Howson and Liam and that, and they're just really
Next level then.
Yeah, next level, great fighters. I mean, Liam's just off the scale, isn't he? So yeah, I'd like to do a bit more of that. Other than that, it's just like
More of the same.
more of the same. Just, you know, get the ICO back up and flowing again. Keep building the clubs with the lads, expand it. Just keep working, do what I do in the background. You know, that's it really.
So a question, again, every interview that I've done, I like to ask this question. Is there one bit of advice? There's millions of things you could tell people, but is there one specific bit of advice you could give an up-and-coming fighter or an up-and-coming martial artist? What would it be?
With fighters, and because of the way I teach and train fighters and the way you do as well, it's like, you know, you've got raw ability, but the technique will always make you better. Do you know what I mean? So try and refine your technique, go back and always like work on your technique to make it better, because the technician will like, and if you've got that raw fighting ability and that will behind it, in my mind, the technician will win out. And you want to be seen as a real good technical hard fighter. Do you know what I mean? Doing the art the way it should be done, expressing the art the way it should be expressed. You know,
Fine details. You know, I'm about all that. I'm kind of anal about it really. But like, if you go back and analyse what you're doing, you're probably good at it now. You could be great at it if you keep analysing and trying to make it better. Students, because people are in this for different reasons, aren't they? I just train hard, you know, be dedicated to. Dedication's a massive thing, isn't it now? Do you know what I mean? Being like, realising that the next step is always harder. So unless you take the next step in what you'll do, Level up.
you've got to level up. You know, I always say to people, you can't come in here and just kick. You've got to train your body to kick. And everybody wants to kick, don't they? But there's a process to that. Do you know what I mean? So like, and the syllabus, things don't get any easier, do they? So like, you know, techniques and syllabus is always going to get harder. You've got to learn to step up what you're doing in line with that.
Was it one of my students back in the day? He was only about 13 when he said it. He said, you can't have the gift without the graft.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sticks with me.
Yeah, and it is that hard and fast rule. There's dedication and hard work behind it, you know. You've seen them, haven't you? You've seen people where you get this kid and he's really good here.
Yeah.
And you get this kid here and he's not so good. But
His work ethic is there. Yeah.
And this kid's here.
Yeah.
Then this
Well,
kid,
I was that kid.
Yeah.
I
You
was that
were.
kid. Yeah.
You were. You know, and Sean Loftus was another one. Couldn't stand up straight.
Yeah.
Mine kicking that. Like, you know, you guys got to where you were through hard work. You know, I wasn't a naturally good kicker. I had to work hard. Do you know what I mean? I had to work hard. Things used to always go on at me because I'd be kicking and stretching at silly times of the day and night. You know what I mean?
What do you got to live it though, haven't you?
And I did, and you have. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's what we do. You know, some people play snooker, some people throw darts. This is what we do, you know, and that's it, and we're committed to it. We're still here. I'm still here after 40 years. You know what I mean? Still
Martial artist for life.
Yeah, and I'm still active. I want to stay active as long as I can. On the fight class, like I said, I've been doing my strength and conditioning and lost stones this Christmas, and Wednesday I started getting my legs working again, and I felt good. You know what I mean? It was really nice, and a really great class with the kids. You know, and you know, he's still there. I just have to be careful because
Fire's realist.
Yeah. You got to be careful because I've had 2 knee ops and Achilles tendon, bad Achilles tendon issues, you know, so as you're getting older you just have to be careful. But yeah, I've got the fire. I've always had the fire, but I've just got that little bit of a spark again, which is good.
That passion.
Yeah, that
can't put out that fire.
No, that's it.
So wrapping things up, and is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to or a thank you to in your journey over the years?
Yeah, obviously Howard, obviously Howard Brown. You know, I have to thank him for giving me the opportunity. You know, at the end of the day, he's seen something in me, and like got me involved in the teaching. You know, seen something in me as a fighter. He was constantly saying, "You should be fighting, you'd be a professional world champion," and that. Like, and Cash would say, "Stay out of my way." Yeah. So he did believe in me a lot back then. So yeah, I've got to thank Howard for giving me my start. Yeah, Dev as well. I had a good relationship with Dev. You know, basically towards the end, I was like heavily involved. Me and Dev used to do a lot together, speak on the phone for hours and hours. I got a lot of respect for Dev.
Lovely guy as well.
Lovely guy, mate. Great guy and hard as nails. Do you know what I mean? Very humble. Come from like traditional Shotokan background as well. I was still teaching Shotokan back then as well. You know, as well as running Necker, who was teaching up in Solihull. Yeah, Tudor Grange for years. I used to go up and get all the suits and that and have a chat with him then. So Dev, massive. Yeah, my family, my wife, like a rock. You know, so yeah, can't thank her enough.
Behind every good man.
Yeah, it's yeah, she's supported me all the way through. Yeah, everything. You know, I've wanted to do. So yeah, she's brilliant. So really, she's been the rock behind it all. Really, I couldn't really have done anything I've done without her.
We'll have to get Fee in for a Kickboxing Life Story.
She's there in the background doing everything, you know, for me, you know, supporting me in everything I do, telling me off as well, you know, where she's like, told you so, you should have done this.
The voice of reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's times where I should have listened to her, you know, and I probably didn't. You know, and a lot of the times I do because of that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because she's got good advice and just very calm. And obviously she's got my back there. And like, yeah, just all you guys for staying with me, supporting me through the move from ISK to ICO. I know I've got a real good group of guys around me that I can trust, and they'll have my back. And you know, you understand the way I think and do things, and you know, we're all kind of on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. And we've got a good team of guys, man. We really have. I'm really proud of them. So I'd like to thank everybody who's worked with me in the past. My sons were working hard with MACK and turning it around, you know, and building it back up, helping me build it back up into what it is today, and moving forward. So yeah, you know, you need your family and that. So behind you, you know, yourself, you know. So yeah. Mr. Winston back in the day. Yeah. I always remember him, Mr. Winston back in the day, for like helping me pull out a bit of a hole, really. So like, yeah, he got me involved in sort of that contact sport early. And yeah, and like my parents, really, you know, I don't blame them for what happened at all. They were trying to better our lives, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm very, very proud of my Irish heritage, and so are my kids, you know. So, and we go back every year, twice a year, to Ireland, you know. Fee's heritage is Irish, you know. We've got strong Irish links, and I love that, you know, and my kids love that. So I don't blame for what happened. It was just like bad timing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, mate, onwards and upwards. Hopefully now this year's gonna like open up. Hopefully we can get out of this hard couple of years that everybody's had, start opening up and getting back to doing what we do and keep producing good people.
Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Kickboxing Life Stories.
No worries. Thank you, Neil. Thanks, us.
Us.
Cheers.